All right, let's talk about one of the most satisfying shots in badminton, the smash. Specifically, the absolutely devastating smash of a legend, Kento Momota. Today, we're going to uncover his secret, and let me tell you, it's a technique that goes against pretty much everything you've probably ever been taught.
So, when you think about hitting a monster smash, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's all about pure, raw power, right? You know, you grip that racket for dear life, you tense up every muscle in your body, and you try to just obliterate the shuttle. But is that really the key?
Well, according to the man himself, that whole idea is completely wrong. He says, not at all. It's a moment to put effort into it, a single moment. That one little idea is the entire foundation for his incredible technique, and it's what we're going to break down. So first up, let's talk about the big misunderstanding around the smash. We're going to look at why that brute force approach, the one that feels so natural, is actually what's holding your game back.
The problem, and Momota puts it really simply, is that most players just put way too much effort into the entire swing. They're tense from the very beginning, all the way through the hit and even into the follow-through, just trying to be at 100% power the whole time. But here's the thing, that's actually working against you.
And being that tense the whole time, it has some pretty bad consequences. When you're just muscling it, your contact point often ends up being late. So the shuttle doesn't go steeply down. Instead, as Momota says, it grows forward and just kind of floats over, which is basically a gift for your opponent. Not only that, you're left off balance and you're just wasting a ton of energy.
Okay, so if brute force is the problem, what's the solution? This is where we get into Momota's revolutionary idea, the secret of momentary impact.
So what is momentary impact? It's the art of applying your maximum force only for the split second that you actually make contact with the shuttle. Before that moment, you're relaxed. After that moment, you're relaxed again. It's all about a focused, explosive burst of energy, not a long, sustained strain.
And this really shows you the difference. On one side, you've got the brute force smash, tense, late, and super inefficient. But on the other side, the Momota smash. You're relaxed, you hit the shuttle early and with precision, and you can recover instantly for the next shot. The power isn't coming from straining your arm, it's coming from perfect timing.
You know, Momota himself thinks of it as saving energy. He says he doesn't even know how much power he's going to use until he gets into his area, that perfect position. This just shows you it's a reactive, precise action, not some pre-planned all-out attack.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's deconstruct Momota's technique step by step.
It really just boils down to 5 key steps. It all starts with staying relaxed. Then, and this is critical, you have to get to the shuttle's drop point early. From there, you engage your core nice and firm for stability. Then, you apply the force, but remember, only at the moment of impact. And finally, the follow-through is a controlled push forward, not a wild, flailing swing.
Now, Momota puts a huge emphasis on the core. He says it's absolutely essential to bring your core in firmly. See, this isn't about arm strength. It's all about creating a stable base that you can use to unleash that momentary burst of power. A weak core is just going to lead to a weak and unstable smash.
That follow-through is also really misunderstood. It's not about continuing to apply power. Momota describes it as feeling like pushing forward. It's a controlled motion, and it makes sure you stay balanced and are immediately ready for the next shot, which keeps the pressure on your opponent.
So theory is one thing, but how do you actually develop the feel for this? Well, Momota actually shared his exact drill, so let's put this thing into practice. He calls it the look closely drill. Now, it sounds really simple, but it is incredibly effective for training your timing, your focus, and that all-important feeling of momentary impact.
And he stresses that anyone can do this. The whole goal is to watch the shuttle intently and hit it while visualizing a real match. It's about building your muscle memory and your mental focus at the exact same time.
So when you're doing this drill, here's what you got to focus on. Start in your ready position, right in the center. Move efficiently to get under that shuttle nice and early. Keep your eyes locked on it until the absolute last second. And always imagine you're in a real game.
And here's a fascinating little detail. You can actually hear the difference. A forced, tense swing makes kind of a dull sound, but a smash using Momota's technique, that momentary impact, it produces a sharp, clean, distinct crack. That's the sound of pure, efficient power transfer.
Look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. True power in a smash doesn't come from how much brute strength you have. It comes from how, and maybe more importantly, when you decide to use it.
We'll leave you with one last piece of advice from Momota, which he calls a secret. Save your power, keep it firm in your core, and then unleash it only when it matters the most.
This whole philosophy really makes you think, doesn't it? If this idea that a brief, focused application of effort is more effective than just sustained, brute force, if that works for a world-class athlete, what other skills, challenges, or goals in your own life could you master just by applying the right pressure at exactly the right time?